Good evening, everyone. My name is Ryan Johnson, and the topic that I'll be talking about is Greg Mortenson, hero or goat. Before we answer the question of whether Greg Mortenson was a hero or a goat, we must first look at who he was. What is his background? What did he do? Mortenson was born on December 27th, 1957 in St. Cloud, Minnesota. While he was growing up, his parents taught at a girls' school in the Usambara Mountains, which is located in northeastern Tanzania in East Africa. He returned back to Minnesota in the early 1970s to finish high school, which he had completed in 2 years. He graduated in 1975 at the age of 17. After graduation, Mortenson joined the U.S. Army. He was stationed in Germany from 1975 to 1977. While in the Army, Mortenson received the Army Congressional Medal, which is the Medal of Honor for members of the military who have distinguished themselves by acts of valor. In 1978, Greg Mortenson began college on a football scholarship at Concordia College, Moorhead, in Minnesota. He then transferred to the University of South Dakota, where he graduated in 1983 with an associate's degree in nursing and a bachelor's degree in liberal studies. Once finished with his own education, Mortenson worked in various positions such as a professional speaker, writer, veteran, humanitarian, and mountaineer. Mortenson became the first director of the Central Asia Institute. He and Jean Honey formed it in June 1996. According to their website, their mission is to provide education because, quote, education creates empowerment, encourages growth and opportunity, and combats ignorance and fear. They say, we strive to increase access to education in Afghanistan, Pakistan, and Tajikistan, countries where education is most desperately needed, end quote. It is their belief that, quote, a girl who is educated is less likely to become a child bride or die in childbirth, and her family will be healthier. She can help raise her family out of poverty by bringing home more money with every year of schooling she completes. When women are educated, it improves the well-being of the whole society, end quote. The CAI, or the Central Asia Institute, receives funds in the form of donations. They receive money from cash donations, estate bequests, stocks, and donor-advised funds. Their financial reports may be found on their website. Their total international expenses add up to over $3 million. Operating expenses uses the most amount of money, at 29%. Education funds are broken down into vocational and literacy centers, teacher support, supplies, equipment, and scholarships. This amounts to about 50% of the expenses. The rest of the expenses go to buildings, materials, labor, and equipment, and also to public health, medical, water, and etc. What are the positive impacts that Greg Mortenson did? In his book, 3 Cups of Tea, he describes his work as a humanitarian to promote peace and education in Pakistan. He helped to organize and found the CAI. With this organization, he was able to help build schools and provide education to girls in Pakistan and in other similar nations. He also created an organization called Pennies for Peace, which is a program that gathers money to help students and educators worldwide. He is a well-known public speaker who advocated for humanitarian efforts and the rights to education for everyone worldwide, especially for those who aren't able to receive one. If he did all these great things, why are so many people against him? What did he do? From his 3 Cups of Tea book, allegations against him came about. He was accused of fabricating stories. He later admitted to providing incorrect timelines. Many witnesses provided alternate forms of his stories. He was also investigated by Attorney General Steve Bullock for fraudulent activities. Mortenson allegedly spent $6 million in the misuse of funds. He kept money from the royalties of his book, public speaking, and travel. These were funds that were supposed to go to the CAI. He was ordered to pay CAI $1 million, and he did. CBS News reviewed materials from a 60 Minutes report on Greg Mortenson and the manipulation from his book, 3 Cups of Tea. This video describes some of the additional opinions and ideas of this. Let's see what they have to say.
5 years ago, Greg Mortenson's gripping and inspirational memoir, 3 Cups of Tea, shot up the bestseller list. His story inspired millions to donate to his charity. But the ride hit an abrupt stop this weekend after a 60 Minutes investigation exposed some troubling discrepancies. The author spoke out late yesterday, defending his memoir to Outside Magazine. CBS News correspondent Seth Doan has more.
Greg Mortenson's 3 Cups of Tea tells the story of his stumbling upon his life's mission to create the philanthropic Central Asia Institute and build schools in Afghanistan and Pakistan. The nonfiction bestseller became required reading for some U.S. troops, and his story even compelled President Obama to donate to Mortenson's nonprofit. But a 60 Minutes report on Sunday questioned how his organization spends its money, the effectiveness of its work, and the accuracy of some of the details within his memoir.
Upon close examination, some of the most touching and harrowing tales in Mortenson's books appear to have been either greatly exaggerated or made up out of whole cloth.
I went into the area to find a place to build a school. What happened is I got kidnapped by the Taliban for 8 days.
The kidnapping story was featured in 3 Cups of Tea and referred to in his follow-up bestseller, Stones into Schools, with his 1996 photograph of his alleged captors. We managed to locate 4 men who were there when the photo was taken. 2 of them actually appear in the picture. All of them insist they're not Taliban and that Greg Mortenson was not kidnapped.
In an interview with Outside Magazine published Monday, Mortenson defends his work and explains discrepancies as being the result of condensing events and collaborating with a co-writer, saying, "You have my recollections, the different memories of those involved. You have his writing, and sometimes things come out different." Mortenson's publisher, Viking Press, issued a statement Monday, saying his work as a humanitarian in Afghanistan and Pakistan has provided tens of thousands of children with an education. 60 Minutes is a serious news organization, and in the wake of their report, Viking plans to carefully review the materials with the author.
The damage is that you fooled people. People believed you and you betrayed them, It's like saying I love you and then you don't.
This has the potential to rattle the publishing world, where editors and publishers, not to mention readers, rely on the honesty of authors.
There is much information on the good and the bad of Greg Mortenson. This has been a source of great public debate between those who like him and those who don't, and those who are neutral. Because many of the facts are based on personal opinion and there are so many different versions of his stories, I will let you decide. Was Greg Mortenson a hero, or was he a goat? Thank you for listening and have a wonderful day.